Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast and to another live match reaction. Chelsea have just about scraped through to the Europa Conference League. That was not pretty. That was far from ideal. In terms of performances that I expected to see tonight, that was far from it. There's a lot to unpack there. I think the manager, in part, is to blame due to the starting lineup. I think far too many changes rung from the initial whistle. But that defense, there is work to do, man. There is a lot of work to do. If we're getting beaten by Servette, and I mean, the fact that we got beaten tonight, all due respect to Servette, that is an embarrassment to Chelsea Football Club that we have not gone out and won that game. The fact that we have lost 2-1, we might have won over, 2 legs, one on aggregate. The fact that we have lost 2-1 to Servette, a club that I, before 4 weeks ago, had never heard of. Yeah, I'm not having that. We need to make sure we learn from this mistake. There is that, as I said tonight, and I had an avid conversation with my dad through the second half, talking about I think we should have played our top team today. I'm more than happy to rotate throughout the year in terms of the Europa League, the Conference League, the domestic cups. I think it's a great opportunity to rotate and to have cup players and to have a team that is, you have a cup keeper, you have backup players like Renato Vega, to give them an opportunity. I think that's a fantastic thing, a fantastic platform to have. And if we have the players of the ability, of the level that we need to compete in those positions, why not use them? But I think tonight, I felt like it was a must-win game. If you get through tonight was, you can't lose. If you lose tonight, if you lose this tie, this playoff tie, that is an embarrassment. To not make it to the Conference League is criminal. And we are going to get crucified tomorrow in the media. Make no mistake about it. The media is going to go absolutely nuts on us. Pundits are going to go absolutely nuts on us, saying we lost to Servette with Cole Palmer and Nkunku, Nicholas Jackson, Disassi, Jorgensen, Enzo, Caicedo, all on the pitch. And the reality of it is, it was a disjointed performance with a lot of changes. The pitch wasn't fantastic. As Gabriel says here, we missed a lot of chances. But this Chelsea side, how many times are we going to be able to say we missed a lot of chances? I agree, Hanno. Learn and experience, and we are through. We have to learn from these mistakes. We have to take the positives from tonight. We have progressed into the Conference League, even though that should have been a given 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever. We should have, let's be honest, no disrespect to Servette, we should have swept the floor with them. We should have gone absolutely nuts with this. But the fact that we have not, it should really instill some fear in Maresca, in that he is going to have to buckle up. He's not going to be able to rotate every single week against the teams in the Conference League that we should be wiping the floor with. We're going to have to play pretty strong players. We're going to have to field a pretty strong team. It is not going to be a walk in the park, as a lot of us, as a lot of the fans, as a lot of the players might think it will be. But it's going to be far from easy. And I think they've got today was a big pill to swallow for a lot of this Chelsea team. And I think if we turn around and look at the positives, if we glorify today and say, we got across the line, it was enough, I'm not really having that. I don't really. The standard of performance today was far from where we needed to be. It was lackadaisical in the final third. The defense was calamitous again. Communication in our defensive third is just absolutely non-existent. And I've been backing Jorgensen before tonight. Got to call him out. Got to say today was a poor showing from him. And again, I will reiterate what I have said, even when I have backed these goalkeepers. Why, when Chelsea have the same problem, have had the same problem since Petr Cech, why have we not gone out and spent 60, 70, 80, 90 million, however much it is? Why have we not gone out and spent that on a world-class, number one, proven goalkeeper at the top level? Why do we continue to go for these bit part, maybe potential keepers in Robert Sanchez, George Petrovic, Philip Jorgensen? We're paying this, 20 to 30 million fee to play it safe. So we're minimizing the risk. So if it doesn't work out, we're not taking that much of a plunge on the player when we do have to sell them or do have to lose money. Realistically, we would have, how much money would we have saved? And I know we tried to do it with Kepa and it didn't work out. How much money would we have saved over the last 4 years if we had just gone out and bought a Donnarumma, a Mike Maignan? a Diogo Costa. We wouldn't have had to see this revolving door of goalkeepers. And, you know, I don't want it. He hasn't had too many opportunities. I'm not going to jump on him. He hasn't had too many games. And this is the first game where I've seen him where I have not been impressed. I've been largely negative about him. But again, you know, the underlying root of the problem is just Chelsea focusing on a long-term solution rather than a short-term solution. And rather than looking at this squad and going, right, we need a world-class goalkeeper, a proven striker, and an experienced central defender. They've gone out and tried to mitigate all three of those criteria. And in a striker, they've gone out and got a project striker in Nicholas Jackson. They've gone out and got Tosin Adarabioyo on a free. About Tosin Adarabioyo, bruv. Toss him back to fucking Fulham, mate. What is the decisions we are? He's supposed to be our Thiago Silva replacement. And we're going to shift to Sassy, so he's going to be the only experienced defender in this squad. Honestly, bro, I think the fact that we are half-arsing it on these crucial signings and to go out and find a replacement for Thiago Silva, never easy. But you've got to go out there and get a player like Mats Hummels, someone that's been there, done that, to go out and get Tosin Adarabioyo, bro, to replace Thiago Silva as the leader in this squad, the leader at the back in this dressing room. And Disasi was, I know he was at right back tonight. It was, you know, just as poor. Badiashile, man. What has happened to Benoit Badiashile? I remember 12 months ago when this guy could kick ball. This guy used to be a footballer. This guy used to play well. This guy used to earn his wage. Nowadays, he's stealing it, bro. He's thieving it. Benoit Badiashile is not earning that wage, man. What Benoit Badiashile is doing week in, week out, it's not the Benoit Badiashile that I know, that I used to back, that I rated, that I said was going to be part of this long-term Chelsea team. I've always said my idea, or not always, not as of late, but last year I was saying long-term, Benoit Badiashile and Levi Colwill are my my centre-backs. Don't care if they're both left-footed. They're my centre-backs. They're my partnership. Those players between them have the longevity, the promise, the potential to be a world-class centre-back pairing. Levi Colwill has fallen off a little bit. I have no doubt he could be Chelsea captain, England captain, world-class centre-back for years to come. Up to one of the few players, one of the few centre-backs I think has the potential to be on the same level as William Saliba. There are not many players. I rate William Saliba very, very highly, as everyone does. I think Colwill could be that good. However, he has regressed recently. He has regressed since his season at Brighton. But that is minuscule, minute compared to what's happened to Benoit Badiashile, bro. What has someone tell me? Can someone please answer? Who is this imposter wearing his skin, bro? It is not Benoit Badiashile. This is not the same player that I saw when he first came into this Chelsea team, that kept the ball so well, that was progressive, made strong passes through midfield, looked comfortable on the ball, didn't look like he could be phased, strong, couldn't be bullied off it, physically imposing in and around the box. He looks a shell of the man, a shell of the player that he was 12 months ago. And I don't know what's happened, but at the moment, it's looking like another 40 mil down the drain. And I'm sitting here thinking Trevor Chalobah has got a right to be pissed off. Out of all the players in this squad, I can't make an argument for Ben Chilwell. I can't make an argument for Raheem Sterling. I can't make an argument for Armando Broja. But I can make an argument for Trevor Chalobah. And that argument is the other players that we've got in that position at the moment are just nowhere near the level that we need them to be. And for Trevor Chalobah to be on the sidelines while we haven't signed a replacement, until we sign a replacement, if we do sign another centre-back, so be it, then free Chalobah out. But right now, I've got to be, Chalobah is a better option than Badiashile. Chalobah is a better option than Disasi. Chalobah is a better option than Tosin. This defense is worrying me. And I think if we focus on the attack, we have so much talent going forward, but I don't want to be a Tottenham. I don't want to be a gun-ho, focus on the attacking side, and then we just pour us at the back. And it's a concede 3, hope we score 4. I'd rather build on a solid, boring foundation of clean sheets, Jose Mourinho era, boring Chelsea, go out and win 1-2-3-0, effective, you do your job, you win, people hate to play against you. The team that they were trying to build, a team that people that Thomas Tuchel was trying to build, that people hate to play against, was built on basics. was built on the essentials, was built on the necessities, bro. Wasn't built all around this free. Yes, if you had the players to go forward and play brilliant attacking football, that was fantastic. It was an added bonus. But that comes with time. You look at any successful squad in England, and I use the term successful lightly because Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool are not successful, but were not massively successful, but I have to include them in this. You look at teams like Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, Pep Guardiola's Man City, Arteta's Arsenal. They have got better with time. And you look at the individuals in that squad, and I would argue individually, Chelsea could go man for man with a lot of that Arsenal squad, if not better than. But you look at them as a team, head and shoulders above Chelsea at the moment. I'm not going to put no disrespect on Arsenal in terms of how they play as a team. I think the sum is far more than the individual parts. I think they are a very, very cohesive unit. I think they are able, that they have nurtured. When you can learn a manager's system inside and out, when you know a manager's system, when you know your role in the team, like the back of your hand, it becomes plug and play. You can start to take 1, 2, 3 players out of that team, replace them with players that know their positions, know their roles. And it's easy. There's no stop start. There's no staccato. There's no disconnect like there was tonight. We're seeing with this Enzo Maresca where he's making 8, 9 changes with players that have no idea how to play in this system. They're still getting used to it. We got players like Nicholas Jackson that are going to start at the weekend that are still not up to match sharpness, but he's given minutes tonight to players like Mark Guew, who, yes, I'd argue is a good potential, backup striker, good option to have off the bench. I'd like him to get as many minutes as he can this season. But in a game like tonight, which I'll reiterate was a must-win game, there was no way we could not win this tie and go through to the Conference League. I was hoping for a comfortable performance. And after we went 1-0 up, I was thinking, this is going to be a walk in the park. We'll get the second. We'll start knocking it about. They really did not look hungry, did not look like they were pressing in the first half. And then all of a sudden we make the mistake. The goal comes. It's a poor goal from a defensive point of view, a poor goal to concede. And then we're on the back foot from there. The momentum has changed and we're getting bullied by a team that's named after a paper napkin, bro. We're getting bullied by a team that I'd never heard of 2 months ago. We're getting bullied by a team that should never be bullying us. That the European stature, the status we have as a club over the last 20 years should be enough for these players to look at themselves in the mirror at half time and go, me, lads, pull it up on the bootstraps. We need to pull out a performance here because this is not a Chelsea performance. This is not a team worthy of wearing these Chelsea shirts. And a lot of those, the fact that we're having to throw Cole Palmer on as a last resort after going 2-1 down, I think it's embarrassing. I think the hindsight to not bring Neto and Gusto to rest them for the weekend like Crystal Palace is a massive game. I'd argue tonight was a far bigger game than Crystal Palace. The need to win tonight was 100% the need to win at Crystal Palace. While it is very strong and I would expect us to win, it's not a must-win game. If we lose, we're not going to, be relegated, lose the season. We're not going to be out of the Premier League. If we lost tonight by 1 more goal, or obviously, 1 more goal would have taken it. Depends, but 2 more goals, we would have been out of the Conference League. It was a must-win game. It was a game we could not lose. And again, wasn't best pleased with the lineup. I think there were far too many changes wrong, and we saw it in the defense, the disconnect, the miscommunication, the lack of ability, the lack of cohesion when they're playing together. We've seen it with Levi Colwill and Wes Fofana, and I think Colwill against Wolves had a great individual game, and I think Fofana in parts has looked like he's getting back to the player that he was at Leicester, that he could be. But together, They are the complete opposite of what I just said about Arsenal. They are less than individually they're both 8 out of 10s, but then you put them together and somehow you get a 12 out of 20. They both become 6s. They're not very. The partnership is definitely not harmonious. They're not very in sync, and I feel like that Chelsea defense just kind of that goes for all the Chelsea players at the back. No matter who we rotate in that centre back, no matter who we rotate in the back four, even there's just a lack of cohesion. There's no real telepathy. There's no real understanding of you go, I stay. There's no, they haven't had time to bed in a relationship, and I think that is factoring in a few players, a few positions, around the pitch. But centre back is the main area where I think there is a very clear disconnect between the individuals, and it needs to be sorted out because when we play against teams like Man City, even Arsenal, Liverpool, the higher up teams, I was going to say top teams, the higher up teams in the Premier League, they're going to exploit us. And we saw Servette do it tonight. You know, the teams that we play in the Conference League will be better than Servette. So we're going to need to level up. And, you know, if we are thinking about rotating and playing a second team or playing a backup team, a cup team, whatever you want to call it, if we're thinking about rotating and having a cup goalkeeper and a different centre-back partnership, I mean, these guys are going to have to pattern up just as much as the league team, because they're going to be under the spotlight, under as much scrutiny, and arguably playing against a better average opposition. You know, when you factor in the account that these teams are probably going to be higher up, you know, a lot of these teams are going to be finishing first, second, third in their respective leagues further down in Europe. They might not be Europe's top leagues, but they're going to be further, you know, closer to the top table. So it's not going to be a walk in the park playing these teams in the Conference League. And yeah, I'm far from convinced by the partnership of the back four that we saw tonight of Tosin, Disasi, Renato Vega, and who's the other one? Badiashile. But yeah, Badiashile is the by far the worst at the moment. I have no idea what has happened to his legs, his footballing brain. As Gabriel said, since the injury, he's lost it. He doesn't look like the same player. He looks like a shell of a man. But yeah, Mudryk in the first half, he drops off. He looks sharp in the first 10 minutes. He won the pen, couple of good little things, but then he just always has the counterintuitive instinct to go inside, to drive inside, and then blaze it over the bar. How many times have we seen that from Mykhailo Mudryk? That must be that is his signature move at the moment, to double up inside and blaze it over the bar. There's so many times where he could just do that and then just pass, just slow yourself down. But his decision making in the final third, some of the crosses he put in today, I think that's the last time we see Mudryk in the starting lineup. Definitely in the league. He's not starting in the league for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays in the Europa League. I think, you know, a little bit more open games maybe, and you know, Thursday nights give him a little bit more of an opportunity, you know, an occasion to go out and maybe kind of do something. But for the league, definitely he's the player that I'm dropping out of that first team straight away. It's very, very tricky otherwise, though, because Nkunku tonight, I thought he showed, I know the goal that he scored was obviously a penalty, but I thought all in all, I thought his performance was pretty solid. I think his link-up play was great. His footwork, his touch is exceptional. He's just hasn't got, not everyone else is on the same wavelength, on the same kind of footballing brain capacity that he's on. I think him and João Felix will work really, really well together. I think Christopher Nkunku and João Felix, in terms of their footballing instinct and footballing brain, I think they're probably two of the best attackers that we have. I think Cole Palmer's up there. His ability to pick the pass is up there. But I think those attackers, I think Nkunku 100% deserves to be in with a conversation of starting, because yeah, when he's playing at full fitness, at full steam, I think in the right system, he's going to be, you know, in behind the number 9 when you have whether it's Nicholas Jackson or someone else, Ivan Toney or Simon, whoever it's going to be before the end of the window. I think Nkunku in the 10, I think he's so dangerous. He's so good in tight spaces. He has, Chukwuemeka has a very similar ability, I think, in terms of his technical ability and his footwork in tight spaces in and around the box. His ability to kind of just glide. The ball just sticks to your feet. You know, he glides through. And I think Nkunku has that ability. I think Nkunku is a very, very good player. But again, 2 or 3 big chances in front of goal tonight that missed. And you know, those chances come against Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. You know, you're missing those, you're losing the game. Those games are, you know, games of small margins. And we were just lucky tonight because they had more than enough chances in those last 15, 20 minutes to go out and win the game, or to at least tie at level and take us to penalties or whatever. But they could have won the game. We were lucky tonight to go through an aggregate, I think. I appreciate you joining my boy Scott. Happy Hatton. Let's have a rant, because I've done my Badiashile. I've done a few players, but now who the fuck vetted this transfer? Who said yes to spending £30 million, bro? 30 million pounds of the Queen's finest, the King's finest, whatever it is. £30 million on Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. You must be as skunked as me, bro. Whoever signed off on that transfer. How many levels as well does the transfer have to go through? How many levels of clearance does it have to go from top to bottom, from accounting to CEO? How many people have to vet and approve the transfer? Because I'll tell you, whatever the number is, it ain't enough. Get more in there. I need more players, more people saying no to these stupid ass transfers. Omari Kellyman for 19 mil or 20 mil or whatever it was, and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall for 30 mil, 50 mil down the fucking drain. Stupid transfers. Omari Kellyman, I can see the positive of that. We could maybe make potential back on that. Dewsbury-Hall shouldn't even have been promoted with Leicester. They should have left him in the Championship, bruv. He is a Championship level player. He will never be a Chelsea level player. I do not know why we bought him. He is not even good enough to be a rotation player. Not good enough to play in the Conference League. Not good enough to put on the Chelsea shirt. Get him out this team. Get him out this squad. I do not care if Maresca knows him. I do not care if he knew Maresca's system. He looks like the only player in that Chelsea team that doesn't know where his position is, that doesn't know what to do. He's the only player in that Chelsea team that does the Gallagher-esque thing of just putting his head down and running and putting a shit ball out for a throw-in. I cannot stand Dewsbury-Hall. I think he's absolutely dreadful. He's not a good defensive midfielder. He offers absolutely nothing in the attacking third. He's not a ball-carrying centre mid. His distribution is pants. His shooting's dreadful. His anticipation, his delivery, bruv, he stinks. I do not know who vetted this transfer. Someone needs to find me a name. Someone needs to find me. Someone needs to be held accountable for this Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall move. I want an apology after that game as well. I want to go on his and see an apology from Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall for doing what he did tonight, because that performance absolutely fucking stunk. I never want to see him. I didn't rate Gallagher. I loved Gallagher for the fact that he bled blue. He was a Chelsea boy through and through, and he put in 110% on and off the ball whenever he was on the pitch. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall don't even put in 40%. And he's worse on the ball. Somehow, he's worse on the ball. How have we managed to replace Conor Gallagher with a central midfielder that is worse on the ball than Conor Gallagher? I do not understand how we have managed to find someone that's worse than Gallagher. And gone out and spent £30 million on him, bro. Imagine that could have paid for Tony. That could have paid for Osimhen's wages for the year. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, man. What were we thinking? I am already, as I was with Kukurea earlier in his career, I'm Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall out. I do not want to see him playing for Chelsea again. The bloke is just shit. I can't believe we've got players like Cassidy on the books that aren't getting a look in over Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I can't believe we're loaning out players like Andre Santos and Leslie Ugo-Chukwu and freezing out Carney Chukwuemeka, who is head and shoulders above Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I haven't even thought about that for a minute. Carney Chukwuemeka's been frozen out this squad, and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall's being preferred over him. Are you dumb, bro? Not even are you skunked. Are you fully, is there screws loose in your nut to be picking Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall over Carney Chukwuemeka? Are you fucking blind, bro? Honestly, some of the decisions, I can't believe it. Felix wasn't registered, Gabriel, so he wasn't going to be able to play today, but I hear you, we should have started a stronger team. It is, bruv. Dano, it is somewhat shambles, but the shambles for me, and I'm not stopping on this rant, we're getting a full 5 minutes at least on this rant. The fact that Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall has made it, the fact that Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall is still in the team, is still being selected every week, is doing my fucking head in. How are we letting a player of Carney Chukwuemeka's not just talent, but his potential as well? We signed him, 2 years ago, as a starter, as you know, one of the future, one of the potential. Already he's out the door. I don't like it. I don't like it. These players are better than their replacements or counterparts. And as I've said earlier, I've got no excuse for Chilwell. I've got no excuse for Sterling. I can't sit here and defend them as individuals. I back the manager on those decisions wholeheartedly. I think Renato Vega is a more promising and or better backup option than Ben Chilwell. And I think Pedro Neto / Mykhailo Mudryk, for financial or potential reasons, are better than Raheem Sterling. but I do not think Tosin Adarabioyo is better than Chalobah. I do not think Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall is better than Chukwuemeka, Gallagher, Ugo Chukwu, Santos, Casaday, whoever else we've let go. Diego Moreira, Harvey Vale. I'd rather have Leo Castledine in this squad. I'd rather have Ronnie Stutter in this squad than Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I don't get how he's managed to steal a contract at Chelsea. How long is it as well? 5-6 years? I do not understand how he's managed to do it. He's got away with. He's stealing more of a living than Badiashile. Let's be honest. There's more than one player stealing a living in this Chelsea squad. And Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall is top of my list, man. I'm going to have to do a short on him tomorrow as well. He's just, I can't understand how that is in the manager's mind. I don't see what he sees in him. I don't see what anybody sees in Dewsbury-Hall. Honestly, yeah. Eye test, catastrophic failure for me. And that is as far as it goes. I'm not, until he reverses my judgment with a season worth of top performances, I'm not, I'm gone. That is my position. And if anybody knows me, if anybody watches my shit, I'm a stubborn bastard. So, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and, get involved in the comments as well. And smash the like button. It's free. It's easy. But yeah, on to the next. I think the draw's tomorrow, isn't it? For the Conference League. We got the Premier League on Sunday. We got Sunday? Might be, it will be Sunday, won't it? Crystal Palace. And yeah, Gusto was left out tonight. Neto left out tonight. So you imagine they'll both start. I think Maduiki's got to start. I'll be surprised if Jackson doesn't start. Palmer as well, which means Nkunku will miss out. Obviously, he played a lot of minutes tonight as well. So I think Nkunku also, that could produce another big problem in this squad. If we are playing a cup team and a league team and Christopher Nkunku is part of the cup team, we could be in big trouble. I think he could get miffed. He could definitely leave next year. I think if we start to segregate, if we start to differentiate, I'm all for healthy competition. I'm all for, you have your number one spot and your number two spot, but that is not set in stone. While that is kind of clear, if number two begins to outperform number one, no reason why it can't switch around. Number one has to have an incentive to stay in that position. And I think a lot of these Chelsea players need that healthy competition without having the demoralizing factor of I have one bad performance and I'm out this squad. And that is, I feel like Nkunku would be very harsh to not include him in this team because let's not forget, he was our marquee signing 2 years ago. When we signed him, he was the biggest signing of the summer for us. He was supposed to be the guy, had a fantastic preseason, was supposed to be leading the line for us, and then he got injured against Dortmund and missed virtually, or let's just call it the entire season. He has now, 12 months have passed with Bowley and that. We've kind of acted as if he's not part of the club. We've gone out, replaced him. We've got long-term solutions. Christopher Nkunku must be kind of looking at this squad and thinking, to an extent, I'm slightly worried about my position in this team. I'm slightly worried about where I fit in Maresca's plans because we've got this new manager in who's decided, there's players like Cole Palmer who's as a non-starter. You can't have that conversation. He's going to be part of the team. He clearly likes to play with a number 9 who I don't really see Nkunku as that number 9. So Jackson is there already. That's 2 spots out of the 4 taken up. I feel like Nkunku could rightly be miffed if he is a bench player. But at the same time, if he's only going to score penalties, I don't see him breaking out of this cup team. I mean, it's obviously there's a long way to go. There's a lot of games, not just the Conference League. We're going to have the Club World Cup. We're going to have the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever it is. There's a lot of opportunities for Nkunku to prove himself and get on the score sheet. But if he doesn't get consistent minutes in the Premier League and also starting opportunities in the Premier League, I think, and this is kind of not just him. I think it could spread to a few other players. I think it would lead to a little bit of disharmony. But yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, Hatton agrees. And Nkunku won't accept being a bench player. But again, I mean, who in this team out of so you're playing 4 players. Let's talk about the weekend. if you're playing 4 players in that position, you're playing the left wing, striker, right wing, number 10. Who are you playing? I'm going Neto, Jackson, Palmer. Oh, now I feel bad because I've just been talking about Nkunku for time. I'm going Neto, Jackson, Palmer, Madueke. Obviously, Mudryk drops out. I think João Felix would be fine dropping out. But, I mean, Nkunku, it's tough. At the moment, he is vying for that number 9 position because you can't knock Madueke out the right and you can't knock Palmer out the middle. I mean, Palmer might play on the right or might drift or whatever, but that Palmer's a dead start, and you've got to start Madueke in the form that he's in as well. I personally would start Neto. Maybe he's not. Maybe he'll start Nkunku off the left. I don't think Nkunku is a good wide man. I think he's far better down the middle. I think in the 10 is the best option, or just behind the striker and the second striker. So where that Dewsbury-Hall role tonight, I suppose, or the Enzo Fernandez. We've seen Enzo Fernandez pushing up really, really high next to the second, next to the striker. Let's let Nkunku do that role. And let's let Enzo Fernandez sit back and do what he does best in dictating play from deep. When he has more control of the tempo, when he has more control of, when he can see more of the pitch, he's a far better, far more influential player in this Chelsea team, Enzo Fernandez. So I think sit him deeper, as deep as possible. Yeah, I might start on Nkunku, but, like I said, you've got to play Palmer, you've got to play Madueke. And then I know Enzo Maresca likes to play with a number 9, who it seems that he's not sold on Nkunku as a number 9. So it will be interesting. But yeah, let me know in the comments, who would you drop? I'm glad to see I'm not the only one thinking that Dewsbury-Hall doesn't have the quality. I think he's pants, mate. He's absolutely shite. Is it a crime in this team to shoot outside the box Enzo Fernandez had a shot in the first minute. Thank you very much, from outside the box. But yeah, we don't take enough shots. And when we do, they're wild, and more often than not, they're from Mykhailo Mudryk. Another quick note as well, just while we're, skipping between positives and negatives. Tyreek George, I thought did well tonight. Didn't really get too involved. And obviously we were on the back foot at that part of the game. But I think his footwork, he looks very, very smart. Looks like a very, very tidy player. I hope he gets far more minutes in the Conference League and in domestic cup. Barrow, fantastic opportunities to start Tyreek George. So I really, really hope he gets minutes. Achimpong as well, disappointing not to see him get on the pitch tonight. But I hope that he and George both kind of make their breakthroughs this year. I think Tyreek George definitely has the quality from what we saw last season on its own in the youth squad. He's an absolute baller when he wants to be. So I think Tyreek George has a lot of potential, a lot of talent. And yeah, great to see him getting some minutes tonight. Good experience for him. First competitive minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, his first minutes were in pre-season. He might have got a bench appearance last year, or a bench appearance this year. I can't remember. But potentially definitely first minutes in a European competition for Tyreek George. So fantastic for him. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. DJ Sav. Big up yourself, bro. Everyone as well, make sure to like, drop us a like quick. There's 20, 30 people watching. Make sure to drop us a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already as well. And Nkunku, I think he will be our number 9, especially now Osimhen and Tony going to the Saudi League. You think both of them going to the Saudi League? I'll be honest as well, I might be speaking out of term. I haven't looked at any transfer news today. I'm going to be putting out another transfer episode tomorrow, just because the work rate does not stop. Don't watch that, even when Chelsea lose to Servette. We're still here grinding. But yeah, I've said, I've long maintained, look, if we go out and get a striker, fantastic. I think this squad could use an out-and-out proven plug-and-play striker where the attitude is, you give me the ball, I'm going to go score. However, I'm more than happy with Nkunku and Jackson as our options. And with João Felix as well, I think we've got more than enough quality in that position. We do not need to go out and sign a striker. We definitely do not need to go out and sign a winger. I don't know how much truth there is to the Sancho talks, but we don't need him. We already replaced Raheem Sterling and Pedro Neto. We've got Mudryk, Madueke, Nkunku, Palmer, Jackson, Felix. We've got all these players. We do not need to go out and buy Tony, to go out and buy Sancho. Realistically, they probably would end up surplus to requirements in a year. So I would like to see Nkunku given the opportunity alongside Jackson. But yeah, who knows? Who knows with this? Who knows with this team? Another person reiterating that they're not impressed with Dewsbury-Hall. He is supposed to know Maresca ball, and he knows. Yeah, he plays like he's 5 steps behind everybody else. I would not rather. I just don't think we need him. We've already replaced him with Pedro Neto. So why get another replacement in? I don't, yes, I would. If you're gun to my head, Sancho or Sterling, yes, I'd pick Sancho, but unnecessary. Well, tomorrow's transfer episode is going to be a juicy one. Obviously, Lukaku confirmed today. Maybe that's why Chelsea's management are in Naples as well. You got to remember that Lukaku has arrived in Napoli today to sign, or that is, that has all become permanent today. So there will no doubt be Chelsea representatives over there. Wouldn't be surprised if they mix it in with the conversation. But tomorrow's episode is going to be a juicy one. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. We do Loan Watch, Transfer Watch, as well as live match reactions, live match watch-alongs throughout the season. Like I said, tomorrow's episode, transfer talk. We'll be talking about Lukaku, Kepa to Bournemouth, Mike Penders has signed, and obviously, the Sancho Sterling rumours, which are confusing a lot of Mandem right now, confusing me for sure. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but we'll do a little bit of digging and get to the bottom of it tomorrow. In the meantime, make sure to follow at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and the TikTok. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and we will be back tomorrow. And at this weekend, obviously, again, another live match reaction. I will be in Geneva, but I will still be doing another live match reaction for Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. So tune in. I'll probably be yacked, hanging around some watches, Roman Schaaf, all of them man there. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Stay tuned. Two Blues story this weekend is going to be a mazzoline. You are going to see some £1 million watches on that shit. So yeah, at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and the TikTok. Subscribe to the channel.